Hi Cougars, Mrs. Priebe, and this is our first read aloud that I am recording today. Since we are coming back to school, it kind of feels like the first day of school. So I thought we should start out with a book about the first day of school. So this book is called My New Teacher and Me. It is by Yankovic, and the illustrations, meaning the pictures, are by Wes Hargis. So Billy has a big imagination, and his teacher, Mr. Booth, is very serious. So we're going to read on how they figure out how to get along in My New Teacher and Me. Let's get started. The first day of school. It was finally here. I wondered who'd be my new teacher this year. Then it was 8:30 sharp. A tall stranger walked in. He stood by the chalkboard and he stroked his long chin. He said, "I'm Mr. Booth, and I'm happy to say I'll be teaching you all about fractions today. Now open your textbooks to page number 3. And that's when he stopped and he stared right at me. He said, "You, young man, why's that filth on your shirt? You can't come in my classroom all covered in dirt." I said, "Hi, nice to meet you, sir. Billy's the name. See, a funny thing happened before the bus came. I was digging to China out in my backyard, and I almost was there when I hit something hard. Well, I dug, and I dug, and I dug a bit more, and discovered the skull of a real dinosaur. And I would have cleaned up, sir, but hey, I'm no fool. I just couldn't be late on the first day of school. Look at that huge dinosaur head." He dug pretty far, didn't he? For a second or two, Mr. Booth kind of froze. Then he walked up to me and he looked down his nose. "I don't tolerate nonsense. No, not 1 degree. And your story sounds highly unlikely to me." "Why, of course it's unlikely," I said. "Oh, by far. The awesomest things in the world often are." Look at his desk in comparison to all of the others in his class. He's got all sorts of things going on in his head and on his desk. For instance, this friend of my third cousin Ned's, he's got a farm where the dairy cows each have 2 heads. That's so highly unlikely the tourists all stop just to take their own pictures at $3 a pop. "Completely ridiculous," sneered Mr. Booth. "Please stop wasting our time and just stick to the truth." "Well, the truth can seem crazy, like that day in June when my grandfather famously walked on the moon. And he played ukulele while flying a kite. It was in all the papers. You've heard of it, right? Look at his house trailer that he's got on the moon. That's pretty silly. And I can't believe that his shorts would actually hang down like that, because there's very little gravity on the moon. I think they just kind of blow in like there's a big breeze. You know what? My grandfather even implied someday he might take me along for a ride. The class started cheering, take us too!" Then Mr. Booth bristled and snapped, "That'll do! Pure poppycock. Class, please be quiet. Be still. He is not going off to the moon and never will." "That's all right," I told him. "The moon is okay, but I've been to a much cooler place anyway." Wonder where he's been. "I just went on vacation with my dad and my mom to an island somewhere between Norway and Guam, where the blueberry muffins grow right on the trees." Do you see blueberry muffins on any of these trees? I don't know that I do. "And you flip inside out every time that you sneeze. All the rabbits say moo and the poodles go neigh. And the traffic light colors are pink, blue, and gray. Oh, and every third Thursday, about 1:30, all the gravity stops. Wow, is that ever fun? There's a squid eating contest, and hey, if you win it, they let you be a king for exactly 1 minute. Then everyone does what you can tell, and everyone does what you tell them what to do. Man, I sure hope we get to go back next year too. Mr. Booth didn't care for that story one bit. He furrowed his brow and he said, "Okay, that's it. Admit that your stories are simply absurd. I just do not believe them, not one single word." He looks pretty mad, doesn't he? It's got to make Billy kind of shake in his shoes. Then I cleared my throat and said, "Well, sir, you know, just 'cause you don't believe it doesn't mean it's not so. Just 'cause you can't imagine it doesn't mean that it simply can't be or won't ever be seen. I'll bet every great thinker and leader we've got could see all kinds of things other people could not. So then why get upset if someone like me tries to look at the world just a bit differently?" So who are some of these famous people? We've got Martin Luther King, Madame Marie Curie. I don't know if that is supposed to be Aristotle or, not sure who that is. And, there's little Einstein and probably Picasso. And I'm not sure who the others are. Maybe you know. "Enough," Mr. Booth said. "No more of these stunts. You'll march straight to the principal's office at once." Something slipped from my book as I walked to the door. Mr. Booth picked it up. "Oh, what's that on the floor?" And his jaw hit the floor. It was me and a cow with not one head but two. "Oh," I said, "I was planning to give that to you. It's a little good luck gift. I got it for free." He stared hard at the photo and then looked back at me. He cannot believe that Billy had his photo taken with a two-headed cow. Can you even imagine such a thing? I can't. I guess I don't have much of an imagination. I avoided the principal's office that day. In fact, old Mr. Booth put my gift on display. He steals a quick glance at it once in a while, and I'm not even kidding. I once saw him smile. That's kind of cool, huh? We should get along fine, and it's certainly clear there's a lot we'll be teaching each other this year. Like how all my stories are perfectly true. Do we believe that? Except, well, maybe a detail or two. Look at Billy's room and all of the things that he's got in it. Some of the things he talked about in the book. There's a book about Martin Luther King and Marie Curie and the Wright brothers who flew the first airplane. And here's something about NASA. And I love his clock. Look at that awesome clock. Oh, and there's where he dug up the dinosaur skull out in his backyard. And the little bunny and the little squirrel. Oh, look at this bunny down here in the plant. So many things to see. Anyway, that's the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good week. Bye.